Yeah. It's the Stephanie Miller Show.
Hey.
Chris and Travis are filling in for Mama today.
We're
She's
here.
on vacation.
She is on vacation. And holy crap, do we have a good lineup today?
Yes, we do. This is a big show.
Yeah, we're going to have Bob Cesca for an entire hour.
Well, the way I look at it is it's like a sexy liberal sandwich,
Sure.
like a double-decker sexy liberal sandwich with Malcolm Nance in the middle.
In the middle, yes.
He is the meat in our sexy liberal sandwich today,
Yes.
sandwiched in between a full hour of Bob Cesca joining us and a full hour of the unprecedented guys, John Aravosis and Cliff Schechter.
Yeah. It's a total sausage fest today.
It is a bit of a sausage fest, but it was kind of on Monday too, if you think about it.
It was, yeah.
Or as some people described it, the last hour and a half was a tea dance.
That was really funny.
I'll take it.
It was like an old-fashioned Sunday afternoon tea dance.
I will take it. It was a blast, and had no idea where we were going with some of those conversations, but they all turned out fine.
You know what? I learned more about escape rooms than I ever wanted to learn. But we made it topical, so there you go.
I know COVID has been America's escape room for the last year.
That's right.
But we're getting out of it, hopefully, and hopefully we'll be getting back to normal. Hopefully normal will not include more of what we had on Monday afternoon in Colorado.
Well, unfortunately, that is normal for American life. You know, we got a bit of a year's reprieve from it, but
well, I don't know if you saw yesterday. Obama put out his statement about it. Mm-hmm. He was talking about the fact that it shouldn't take a pandemic,
right,
to stop gun violence,
right. Yeah.
And you know, we were talking about that, and we were citing all of that. But now they're also saying that because of everything that we've been through this last year, you know, the mental health issues, you know, people have been inside, they're insecure, they haven't been around people.
Right.
It's hard. Like whether you're alone or even if you're with somebody else, it's been a really rough year, and people are going to have a hard time transitioning back to a new normal.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a sense of PTSD. And it's not like everything is going to, you know, a switch is going to flip and life is going to go back to normal. It's going to be in stages, and navigating those stages is going to be a little hard for everybody. You know, should I do this at this point? Should I, you know, can I walk outside to my car without a mask now? Or, you know, it just navigating all of the little things like that is going to be a little weird.
That was funny you should say that, because that was always my thing in the morning. I enjoyed coming when I would come to the studio.
Right.
I would walk out and get in my car, and I would not put my mask on.
Right.
In the morning, and it felt like I was being so naughty because I was out on the street at 5 a.m. and there was no one around.
Yeah.
And to drive to the studio, and this morning, actually, because you understand street sweeping and how street sweeping works in LA.
Right.
Today's street sweeping day, so I had to move my car before the show.
Yeah.
So I was, and that means I had to move it like a block away.
Sure.
So I was out for a morning jog this morning with a mask on, though.
Yep.
I did put my mask on because it was a little bit later, and people were out on the street.
Wednesdays are a street sweeping day for me too. But since I'm in the studio this week, I don't have to worry about that.
I know. Street sweeping was never a problem for me for the last like 3 years.
Yeah.
But obviously,
right,
things have changed in coronavirus times.
Yep.
But we were talking about mental health issues. It seems like we're learning more and more about this gunman in Colorado, and you know, his brother did an interview talking about how he believed in conspiracy theories. He felt like his phone had been hacked.
Yeah.
Facebook took down a page of his. Let me see if I can find some of the facts from this. It sounds interesting, and it was funny. You know, Fox News had no interest in covering the story on Monday night as it was breaking.
Right. Yeah.
Last night it was wall-to-wall coverage because all of a sudden they found out that this person was born in Syria.
Yeah.
Even though there are there's nothing that we can see so far that shows any ties to domestic terrorism in any way, shape, or form. It seems like
I honestly don't think there is. You know, from everything I've seen, he's just, you know, he's been crazy for a while.
Yeah, he's a kid who's it sounds like he has some mental health issues. He was critical of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He said he inherited a growing economy and the unemployment rate was low. He won because of racism.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all kind of true facts.
Yeah.
And he expressed objections to Islamophobia, especially again with Trump. He also talked about the shooting in Christchurch in New Zealand on his Facebook page. I'm not saying any of this to diminish what he did. This kid obviously needed some help, and we were working on after, going back to Columbine, Aurora,
right,
Newtown.
Yep.
We've been trying to get gun legislation in.
Sure.
Biden spoke yesterday about how he got an assault weapons ban in 1994, working with Senator Feinstein.
Yep.
And that all got repealed in the 2000s under the Bush years.
Yep.
And it's hard not to look at this and think, wow, this could have been a whole different story. Just looking at what's happened in Colorado in this last week. We noted that 10 days ago, the courts overturned a ruling against assault rifles in Boulder. The city had passed an ordinance to ban them in the city. The courts overturned that literally 10 days ago.
Yeah. But it looks like it wouldn't have made a difference anyway, because it appears that he bought the gun in Arvada.
Okay.
So that's what someone, one of the local authorities on CNN said this morning. That it appears that he bought the gun in Arvada, Colorado.
Right. No, I knew that he bought the gun 6 days ago.
Yeah.
I did see that, and he had also previously, I believe, a week or two earlier, he had bought the handgun that he or bought. That's not a good word, Chris. Don't throw a stapler at me for saying bought. Yeah. Sorry.
I bought he, she, it bots.
Yes, it was a huge grammar foul right there.
Yeah.
He bought the handgun also fairly recently, but I can't help but think that this decision that we just heard about, lifting the assault rifle ban in sales and possession in the city of Boulder, that had to have been on all the local news. That had to have been something that was publicized. I mean, the NRA put out a statement saying it was a victory for Colorado.
Yeah.
So that this was in the news, and most likely this kid saw it. It could have planted the seeds in his head to go out and buy an assault rifle. Seeing that it was.
I think that's a little speculative, though. I don't.
It is. It's fully speculative, but it raises the profile of that issue in the area. And he did buy the gun after that ban was lifted by the courts.
Right.
It's a hard thing to talk about, and it's
Well, he's still alive, and so there's going to be a lot of interrogation going on, and because he's alive, we will find out a lot more than if he'd been taken down by the police.
And I'm glad that's how it happened.
Yes.
It's kind of like after what happened in Parkland, that we did have that they were able to apprehend the murderer who did that, and I feel like as a society we need to be able to judge these people. I don't want death by suicide,
right,
or death by cop,
right,
as some of them will put it. But coincidentally, yesterday the House, the Senate had a hearing on gun violence, and this had been planned before the Atlanta shooting.
Yeah, well in advance.
Before, obviously well before the shooting on Monday, but it raised the profile. And Senator Blumenthal spoke about it. He spoke very eloquently. Let's go to clip number 7.
America awoke today to another nightmare, stunning, shocking, savage, but unsurprising. Inaction has made this horror completely predictable. Inaction by this Congress makes us complicit. Now is the time for action to honor these victims with action, real action, not the fig leaves or the shadows that have been offered on the other side, along with hopes and thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. And Blumenthal, I'm so glad he did this. He dug into that thoughts and prayers thing. Let's keep going to clip number 8.
Thoughts and prayers cannot save the 8 victims in Atlanta or the 10 last night, including a brave police officer. Thoughts and prayers can't save the 24,000 people killed every year, or the 26 blacks killed every day, the 8 children killed as a result of unsecured weapons every day.
And let's go ahead and go with number 9 too.
Thoughts and prayers are not enough, and yet thoughts and prayers is all we have heard from my colleagues on the other side. Thoughts and prayers must lead to action.
Yeah, Ted Cruz didn't like that.
Yeah, well, speaking of Ted Cruz, he took a little offense to that in clip number 10.
I agree it's a time for actions, and by the way, I don't apologize for thoughts or prayers. I will lift up in prayer people who are hurting, and I believe in the power of prayer, and the contempt of Democrats for prayers is an odd sociological thing.
Oh, God.
Okay, first of all, there is no contempt for prayers, but I would like for Ted to point out examples of where his thoughts and prayers have saved lives in these situations.
Exactly. I would like Ted Cruz to show where he's done something concrete to stop all of these massacres instead of prayers. You know, a prayer hasn't changed anything, obviously, because these things still keep going on. And all they do is offer thoughts and prayers. It's not working. Let's try something else, please.
And we're the only country in the world that has this problem. Mm-hmm. We're the only modern country in the world that has this problem of young men going out, buying guns, and shooting up businesses, schools, concerts. Mm-hmm. The list goes on. And you know, somebody said
we're the only country where this goes on with any regularity. I mean, you know, concerts have been shot up in Paris and stuff like that, but it goes on with regularity here in the United States.
And when it happens here, it's homegrown.
Yeah.
It's a homegrown animosity, and something triggers these people. You know, this guy that was that was the murderer on Monday. Mm-hmm. He posted about like not having a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. So maybe there was some incel in there. Maybe there's a lot of things to unpack here.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that can be done. Yeah. No.
But we need to get to the short version of stories that we need to get to the bottom of what happened and what put him in that mindset to go do that.
Yeah.
Because it's just it doesn't make sense. And then to have Republicans just making up excuses. Well, let's hear what Kennedy had to say about this, because he all of a sudden compares it to drunk driving.
What has happened in the last few days, what's happened in the last years, is of course tragic. And I'm not trying to perfectly equate these two, but we have a lot of drunk drivers in America that kill a lot of people. We ought to try to combat that too.
We are.
But I think what many folks on my side of the aisle are saying is that the answer is not to get rid of all sober drivers.
But maybe make it harder for people who are drunk to drive.
Yes, we're not saying get rid of all sober drivers. We're not saying get rid of all guns. We're saying don't let crazy people have guns. Is that so hard to understand?
Right. In order to drive, you have to pass a driver's license. You have to have it to be somewhat responsible. And you were told that you're not supposed to do these things. People with guns, they don't care.
That's a crappy analogy, Senator Kennedy.
Yeah, not very good. And then, speaking of bad analogies, Marsha Blackburn in clip number 12.
We have the right to have guns in our homes, and we have the right to protect our loved ones. Last summer, we saw those images of destruction of businesses that swept through the nation. In Kenosha, Wisconsin, the Scott family looked on as the furniture store that they owned for 40 years was set on fire by looters.
What does that have to do with anything, Senator Blackburn?
What happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year with a kid and a gun?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
What?
That little D-bag shot protesters. His mom drove him to a protest and he shot protesters. Don't tell me.
Yeah. Marsha Blackburn.
Yeah, that's a real. Speaking of bad analogies, that's a really bad one too. Don't bring up Kenosha, because that's where innocent people were shot by someone who was supposedly a good guy with a gun. No, something has to be done. we'll get into it a little bit later. But
Did
Schumer
someone
said
enter the room? I heard a door open.
That was Dylan leaving the bedroom.
Hi, Dylan.
He can't hear you. I'm on the headphones. Yes, Dylan is fixing coffee right now. Sorry, we're running long here. We need to get into a break. But we'll talk about Chuck Schumer when we come back, and he is saying that this is going to get a debate and a vote on the floor. So hopefully we'll be hearing. That'll be moving forward. Biden's encouraging him to vote on these bills that were passed out of the House already. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. This is the Stephanie Miller Show. It is 21 minutes after the hour. We'll be right back.